Find everything you need today?
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Oh, God. No.
Everything okay, ma'am?
It's just that you've only scanned a few items and it's already $60. I'm so scared.
Okay, I'm a trained professional, ma'am. I've scanned a lot of groceries. I need you to stay with me. This isn't gonna be easy, so I need you to be brave, all right? What's your name?
Patricia.
Trisha, all right. I need you to take a deep breath. We're about to do the cheese.
Oh, my God.
Don't look up there. It only makes it worse. Keep your eyes on me, okay?
Can't you just scan something less expensive?
I can, but let's not forget, it's the little things that add up, all right? Now brace yourself. I'm about to do the mixed nuts.
Oh, my God. I'm going to pass out.
Okay, bite down on this, Patricia. Get ready. I'm going to do the cured meats.
No, stop. I can't do this anymore.
It's too late. There's a line behind you, okay? You're locked in.
I'm not strong enough.
I know it looks like a lot right now, but I promise you're going to get home and you're going to wonder, what did I even buy?
What have you done to me, you son of
Okay, your total's $257.84.
Oh, no.
You got to dig deep. This is the hardest part. Patricia, it's time to pay.
The bill's too high to
I
tap.
need you to be strong. Dig deep, Patricia. Insert your card. Insert your card, Patricia. You got this. You got this. You're doing it, Patricia. You're doing it. That's the way. Here you are, ma'am. A healthy bundle of groceries.
Can I take them home?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to.
Right. Yeah.
Next!
Okay. All right.
Good morning, Patriots. How you doing today? This is Mike the Patriot coming to you live from the downtown metropolis of LaMonte, Missouri. It is 11/20/2023. And doesn't it feel like that when you go to the grocery store? I'm just going to pick up a couple of things, honey. $600 later, and you got 2 bags of groceries. It's like you got to go down to the bank, get a second mortgage on your house just to buy groceries. But it's okay. It's okay because Joe Biden says that there's no inflation. It's zero inflation. It's all good. We're fine. Don't worry about it. I don't know what you guys are all upset about anyways, he says. Breaking news, CNBC stocks are flat. Isn't that wonderful? They're flat this morning because everything is awesome. Really, they're waiting for the government to decide what they're going to do. Are they going to cut? They're waiting. There's supposed to be another bond sale this week. Last week's bond sale didn't go so well because they didn't sell any. And, over the weekend, something happened, but nobody's reporting on it. Something happened with the Japanese banks. The Japanese central bank basically rolled over and tried to die yesterday, but I think we bailed them out. I can't find any corroborating evidence of this other than some little sidebar comments on Twitter from the financial type folks, but that's not a good sign. If the Bank of Japan starts dumping our bonds and we can't even sell the bonds we have, there's only only people that are going to be buying those bonds are the Fed. And that's not good. Not good at all. So as you're logging in, say hi, where you watch from, all of that good stuff. I do appreciate every single one of you being out there. Let me go ahead and throw a cough drop up. I'm doing 1,000% better, but as I talk, there's still a little bit that tickles my throat back there. So throw a cough drop in just to prevent me from keep it under control, basically. As you're logging in, I've got breaking news. I've got a new t-shirt, a new Abu Snack Bar t-shirt. I was playing around with some image generators, and I took that image that I shared, and I come up with a new t-shirt right there. The links are in the description section. The links are in the description section where you're watching this. If you can't see it live, maybe you're watching on Rumble on your television, where you can't see the links, just go to my Facebook page, type Patriot Mike Show on Facebook, and then go to the links at the top of this show or any of the shows, and it'll take you to the t-shirts. And I do have this for everybody who's gone over to Rumble, created an account, and joined my Rumble's locals page. There is a fee for that. It's $5 a month. You will be I'll be posting by the end of the day today a promo code so that you can go over and use the promo code to purchase a t-shirt of your choice. If you so choose, it'll save you a few dollars off your purchase. But that is only going to be posted on my locals page. It's a reward for those that chose to join locals. So we may do something else as far as we got some ideas. Maybe we'll have some in the locals group. Some when I get to how do I find locals? The link to locals is in the description section of anywhere you're watching the video, or go to Rumbles and there's a little red button that says join under my videos. That's the two ways you can get there. And there's a coupon code, and I don't remember what it was. Somebody posts what the coupon code is. I don't know if it's been used up. First 25 people get a 30-day free trial for the locals. And I don't remember what the code was. I think it's Patriot Mike, all one word, but I don't remember. Somebody post it, and I'll say it out loud for the other people on the other channels. All right, so let's get started with the show. I see everybody checking in. We got Brazil checking in again today. How y'all doing down there? C Deciding C from Canada and Parts Unknown from everywhere. Make sure you follow me on the other socials. That's important because especially you guys over there, the two of you over there on YouTube's that are watching over there. Some of you have taken heed and done what, as I said, go follow me on the other socials, especially Rumble, because YouTube is going to take me down. I guarantee it. In fact, that's my goal permanently. But you can follow me on TikTok at Mike Cook 82. You can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Patriot Mike Show. The links and all that stuff is shared to all of these accounts. You can follow me on Truth at Patriot Mike Show. You can follow me on Facebook at Patriot Mike Show or at Righteous Rebellion 197. You can follow my personal page, Mike Cook. And most importantly, you can follow on Telegram. Where's the links? Where's the videos? Where's the story? Where's whatever? Anything that's in my show is posted on my Telegram page. You should be on my Telegram page, and you should be on Rumble. Those are the best places to be. And Patriot Mike Cook, all one word, Patriot Mike Cook on Rumble. Links to all these places except for YouTube, because I don't want to promote YouTube because YouTube sucks, are in the description section wherever you're watching this show. So the description section on Facebook's above. The description section on YouTube and on Rumble is below. On Telegram, I recently had to change my credit card, so I don't have a premium Telegram right now, so I can't load the video up to Telegram until I get that. I tried to go in there and straighten it out, and it wouldn't accept my new card. Anyways, it's just part of life. It's just the way it is sometimes. It's just the way it is. Let's see here. What's going on? Okay. So we're going to start off with another video. Just a little fun video about pew-pews and Glock and all of that I found to be, things that entertain me. And then we'll get into the meat of it. Here we go. Maybe. Come on, technology. There we go.
Hey Glock, what are you making, buddy? Well, we make the 45 and the 9mm and the 380 and the 22. Do you make anything that doesn't hurt things? Horse insemination. What? Horse insemination. Oh, that is some powerful eye contact, but why? My father always told me eye contact is an important part. No, I meant the other thing. How are they related at all? They're both about shooting things into other things. Gross. Why? Because we like horses and we don't like people. You ever met a horse you didn't like? No. You ever met a person you didn't like? Yeah. I see your point. Yeah, so just let me know if you want to make horses or remove people. I'm free till 5, so we got time.
Do you want to make horses or remove people? Glock is where you go. Oh, you got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy life, because I want to talk about this story before we get started on the other stuff. This was from Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk shared this story Friday. It says 26-year-old Christian preacher Hans Schmidt was shot in the head while standing in a corner in Glendale, Arizona, encouraging people to attend an evening service, and hear the gospel at his church, Victory Chapel. Hans is a veteran with a wife and 2 children and is currently clinging to life. Even before some coward pulled the trigger, passerby say Hans was enduring shrieks and curses in his direction. These eyewitnesses also say that following Christ's example, he never raised a fist or uttered a word against the people who insulted him. Please pray for him. This is the young man right here. Now, as it turns out, I have a local connection. A lady at my church knows his mother very, very well. Used to attend church years ago in a different town with this young man's mother. The young man is in the hospital. He is in serious condition. He was shot in the head. He is responding somewhat, stimulus, that kind of stuff. So it's devastating news. Young man, he's one of the associate. He's like the youth pastor or the outreach pastor, something at the church he attends. Basically, he was just evangelizing on the corner, and somebody took a pop shot at him. Don't know any details as far as any arrests or any suspects or anything like that. But pray for this young man in your prayers the next few days, because God can do miracles, and maybe this will be one of them. It's kind of a messed up story, but this is the world we live in, ladies and gentlemen, where people are willing to pull the trigger for preaching. And don't say, you never know you never know where you're going to be. You never know how many more breaths you have left. So anyways, I just want to start out for that story to kind of, I posted on my Facebook page, but I just wanted to let you know about that so that you could be in prayer for the young man and his family. It's Hans Schmidt is his name. Let me just look here real quick. 26-year-old Christian preacher Hans, Hans Schmidt. Somebody was asking for his name. It's on my Telegram page. It's also on my Twitter account if you want to go look up the details for yourself and find any related information. Okay. Switching subjects. Just make sure you pray for that young man and his family. Citibank, actually not Citibank, but Citigroup plans to announce on Monday, that's today, the first major round of layoffs and job assignments in massive restructuring that will eventually result in tens of thousands of positions being eliminated from the bank, according to sources close to the plans. The restructuring, which has been internally codenamed Project Bora Bora, is in the early stages, as these people said, and is far from over. The bank, which is doing a top-down review of the organizational structure, has only reviewed around 1% of the positions at the bank, or about 2,400 jobs. It's not clear how many positions will be cut in this round. On Monday, heads of different business units are expected to announce their staff who the next layers of leadership will be. And Citi has declined to comment. So Citibank, expect to see a lot more of this. FedEx, Amazon, UPS have all announced layoffs going into the Christmas season for the second year in a row, by the way, because usually those companies hire this time of year. But Citibank is one of the biggest companies yet so far to announce massive job cuts. And like I said, it's going to be getting worse. It's going to be getting worse. And here's a little bit on that right here. This is the post over on X. It says, big collateral haircut rules changes at the DTCC starting 4th of December. Now, what is this? Under the new rules, the DTCC will be able to promptly increase the haircuts of the GSD and MBS. These are bonds that banks are holding. This is the collateral that banks are holding, basically, and the rest of the NSCC cleared securities collateral in case a spike in risk and volatility. In other words, they're worried about a bond market crash. So they're reevaluating the assets of the banks in bonds. It doubles the margin requirements for mortgage-backed securities. Also, mortgage-backed securities VAR stress test, 50% of banks will have 2 weeks to prepare. Yeah. Here's the documents. I'm not going to get into trying to read the small print. So how about the firmament? Okay, I don't know. Are you talking about the SpaceX launch? Yeah. People are misreading that, by the way. But you can fit what events into whatever ideology or whatever religiosity you have. Because, well, there's technological reasons for what happened when you saw that. Just saying. But I don't know what I'm talking about, so it doesn't matter. A haircut, we're talking about finances, is the lower than market value placed on an asset when it's being used as collateral for a loan. The size of a haircut is largely based on the risk of the underlying asset. Riskier assets receive larger haircuts. So here is what this means. No, it didn't blow up. That's not what happened. It was a test flight. It was intended to do what it did. But what you saw when people are asking me about the story is the SpaceX rocket went up, and then you saw a big cloud, and everybody's saying it hit the firmament and blew up. No, that was the separation of the stage. You see these rockets. If you notice when the rocket takes off, watch the video, the rocket takes off, there seems to be a cloud coming off the side of the rocket. That's from the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen that is fueling that rocket. That's the fuel. When liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen, anybody in here in the audience, a welder, what happens to your tanks when you're using gas? They get cold. Well, that's what's happening. I mean, have you turned on you know how your AC works in your car? Yeah. That steam coming off of the rocket is extremely cold because they're pulling the gas out. Okay. So you got liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. What happens? Anybody know? Anybody take chemistry? What happens when you mix liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen? Put it together. It creates, it's simultaneously explosive. So these rockets use liquid hydrogen, very volatile. And it launches the rocket up. And as it gets up into the upper atmosphere, what you're seeing in that expansive cloud, and by the way, if you look, they're all over the world, whether they launch these rockets using this type of propellant, you see that phenomenon. Dry ice. Yeah, pretty much. You see That's the propellant expanding and burning as the separation happens. And the rest of the gas that's in the part of the rocket that holds the tank, which, by the way, is not reusable, that usually burns up in re-entry, is expelled and burnt off in the atmosphere. But how could you have fire when there's no oxygen? Because you're pumping liquid oxygen into it. It has its own source of oxygen. And it's not fire, it's an explosive. It is extremely volatile. So what you saw was the separation stage. It happens every time. And then you burnt out and you didn't see it anymore because all the gas is burnt out. Now, am I saying that there's not some dome and then we're on a flat earth, on a turtle? I have no idea. But that is one of the theories, by the way. But taking something that is a normal occurrence when launching rockets and trying to trying to make it fit your religious narrative. Let's just get to the truth. We'll get back to the financial stuff because you got me on the subject. Let's just stick to the truth. We can make up conspiracies. We can say, I don't know. I can't prove it. I'm considering it. It seems interesting to me, but let's stick with, if we just spent more time sticking with the truths and the facts of things, we would be a whole lot better off. For example, speaking of truth, listen and watch this, and then I'll give you my commentary.
The top robotics company in Japan this week. 4 robots being developed for military applications killed 29 humans in the lab. The scariest part is that lab workers deactivated 2 of the robots, took apart the 3rd, but the 4th robot began restoring itself and somehow connected to an orbiting satellite to download information about how to rebuild itself even more strongly than before.
The danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads.
So there you have this story. Now, the part that she's talking about, that some sort of robot went crazy and shot up a bunch of people in Japan or someplace over there, actually happened. It did. This is like a year-old video, but it's making its rounds again. Didn't happen last week. It was like a year ago. And there was a Terminator, a military-grade robot that did malfunction and kill some people. That did happen. Now, how it happened, I don't know. She's saying one story. But did you see the little robots? Did you see the little robots? This is how you got to understand when you see this stuff, what is real, what is not. You see the little robots
in Japan this week. 4 robots being developed for military applications.
So I could talk over it. See the little robots doing their little dancing and all that stuff. You know what that's called? CGI. That's right. If you go to Boston Dynamics and you look at their videos and you scroll all the way back, those are the ones, that's where these videos come from, all the way back to their first couple of videos, they show you how they do it. None of this is real. All of it is CGI. Robots aren't capable of doing backflips and dancing the mamba yet. They're really making advancements to robotics, but we're not there yet. You got to understand the truth of things. That's why I jumped on that rocket thing. Oh, it hit the firmament and blew up. Sure did. Now, am I saying, well, you believe in the moon landing? I don't know. I wasn't there. Some sketchy stuff going on with that. I don't know. I wasn't even alive when they did that. Stick to the reality of things. you know, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. If it seems like maybe it's a stretch, it probably is a stretch. I mean, for real. So the government is setting new rules. It's a trap, right? The government is setting new rules on banks to tighten up their. See, when the banks go to the government to borrow their fiat currency that they just printed yesterday, or actually moved the decimal points over on the screen, when they do that, they have to have collateral. What do they use for collateral? Their government bonds. Well, the government there's going to be a crash in the bond market. I mean, that's evident, and they're concerned about that crash. So now the government's going to come back and say, well, if you want to borrow $1 billion, then you got to have $10 billion in bonds or something along that lines. Now we have robots running around Ogbu snack bar. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We have a fleet of robotic commercials now celebrating the opening of Ogbu snack bars all around the world. That's right. And you can get your own Ogbu snack bar t-shirt at links in the comment section. They serve the very best BLTs. And they are screaming for them. Ogbu snack bar in the Middle East, if you know what I mean. So, yes, it's wonderful. Hey, over on my Rumble page, if you want to get banned from commenting, share a link. Just saying. All right, here we go. Here is Peter St. Onge. Over the weekend, another big company ceased to exist, and filed for bankruptcy. Here's him talking about it.
The co-working behemoth and former stock market darling WeWork filed for bankruptcy, going from a $47 billion valuation to, at the moment, $93 million and change. As the old joke goes, how do you make a small fortune? You start with a large fortune and invest in commercial real estate. That $47 billion wipeout would make WeWork a standout poster child for the Fed-induced malinvestment I've talked about in recent videos, where near zero interest rates launch a tissue fire of easy money, one that burns bright, but sadly burns out fast. WeWork's charred investors include famous Japanese mega investor Masayoshi Son, who made his money cloning Japanese versions of .coms in the 90s, but now is mostly famous for losing obscene amounts of money chasing meme companies. The larger issue, though, is what this means for commercial real estate. Before its bankruptcy, WeWork had renegotiated 590 commercial leases in dozens of cities, summing to $12.7 billion in future rent payments. Those are now gone. They've already said they'll cancel 69 leases, with hundreds to come. By the way, U.S. bankruptcy law gives debtors enormous leverage to walk away from leases, sticking landlords and their banks with the bill. As Zero Hedge put it, WeWork could be the straw that breaks the camel's back of commercial real estate, which is already being savaged by the Fed's rate hikes, together with post-pandemic work from home and the post-apocalyptic mismanagement of America's cities by its proud socialists. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained. What's next is commercial real estate is a potentially fatal risk for hundreds of banks across America, particularly the regional banks, the very outfits that set off the bank runs back in March, starting with Silicon Valley, then Signature and First Republic, all at the time among the top 50 banks in the United States. Those failures were triggered by losses in treasuries, government debt, after the Fed's rate hikes, but the losses in commercial real estate could be even larger, certainly as a percent of the loans. One recent analysis by FX Hedge put commercial loans at regional banks at roughly $300 billion, making up about 30% of their balance sheets. In many cities, those loans have lost half or more of their value. Some are down to a third. This is already strangling regional bank lending as they hoard cash. But as analyst Luke Groman warns, even if regional banks can handle those losses, they'll likely have to sell off their treasuries. which would add yet another seller to a very crowded gang selling federal debt into an abyss. Gang that includes China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and even the Federal Reserve itself. If that happens, it could drive interest costs on federal debt far beyond the current trillion odd that Uncle Sam is set to pay this year, on top of a couple trillion in fresh deficit. So what's the solution? Two options. First, the degenerates who run American cities could miraculously come to their senses, clean up their towns, and entice businesses to return. Or, only slightly more likely, tens of thousands of vacant offices could be converted into housing, filling America's abandoned skyscrapers with condos and apartments. That is apparently a lot harder than it looks, given local rules, including union mandates that can hold up conversions for years. But absent that, we could be in for a collapse in commercial real estate that could set off a banking domino echoing the 2008 crisis. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next.
So we have a crash coming in bonds. We just talked about that. And a crash coming in commercial real estate market, which is currently occurring. And this WeWork company, which is filing for bankruptcy, and it's like they have offices all over, are about to abandon their $12 billion worth of rents that banks aren't going to be getting. So it's a bad day. It's a bad day for some people. Here is a little video. It's gonna be hard to see. It's one of them little YouTube shorts, and they make it a challenge to put them up on the screen here, but I'm going to play it anyways because the commentary is worth it. Talking about inflation, understanding what inflation is, when inflation started, why there is inflation.
Inflation is a term that we've been conditioned to think today is just something normal. The prices just go up and then it's pertinent to a healthy economy, but it's actually theft integrated into the money. It's a technology backdoor is another way to think about it. You wouldn't buy a cell phone knowing that someone could siphon your data off of your private calls and sell it in the market. You wouldn't do it willingly, right? You prefer that your cell phone and your data was monetized by you, or if you're going to sell it, you would be able to selectively sell it. Inflation is that. It's similar. It's a tech backdoor. It's a money that only a few people can siphon value off of surreptitiously, typically slowly, but eventually, as we've seen throughout history, that slowly builds up into a rapidly and then causes the monetary system to collapse. Inflation is a term that we've been conditioned to think today is just something normal. The prices just go up and then it's pertinent to a healthy economy, but it's actually theft integrated into the money. It's a technology backdoor.
It's a technology backdoor. Now, what's he saying? You know, if you take a look at an inflation map, and I don't have one pulled up, but you can take a look at the last 200 years of inflation in the United States. Inflation is a straight line till 1971. Well, it's not, it goes like this. Till 1971, then it goes like this. Why is that? Because it completely removed any connection of our currency to anything other than a promise. It's a grand conspiracy. We're told, we're told the cost of living doubles every 10 years. It wasn't true until 1971. Now it's more than true. It's way more than that. They're just telling us that. They teach that now. They taught that to my generation and the next generation and the next, but it didn't have to be that way until we used a fiat fake currency. There would be no inflation to speak of if our currency was backed by something that was real. If we went back to where you could take a federal, instead of a Federal Reserve note, you had a silver certificate. Instead, you could take that piece of paper into any bank and get a silver dollar. Oh, they'll still give you a dollar coin for your greenback, for your Federal Reserve note, but them dollar coins are worth about as much, if not less. And in a new move, the Biden administration over the weekend
Pertinent to a healthy economy, but
well, hold on a second, enacts the Wartime Power Act to fight the war against gas-powered furnaces. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Not only are your gas stoves evil and your gas barbecue grills evil, but your furnace is now evil. In an unexpected action Friday, President Biden invoked a Cold War era statute to inject government cash into American production of electric heat pumps as alternative to gas-powered household furnaces. The Department of Energy announced a historic $169 million award that we don't have for 9 projects across 15 locations worldwide in an effort to speed electric heat pump production in a joint statement with the White House. Biden was able to get such a large sum of money by utilizing the 1950s Defense Manufacturing Act to enhance domestic manufacturing of green energy technology, because he declared war a couple weeks ago on climate change. According to the American Gas Association, wartime legislation is being used as a tool to advance a policy agenda contrary to our nation's strong energy position. Getting more American-made electric heat pumps, which, by the way, when you find out where all this is being made, there is no American-made electric heat pumps on the market, and there won't be. But getting more American-made electric heat pumps in the market will help families and businesses save money with efficient heating and cooling technology. That is, if you live south of I-80. Because if you live north of I-80, sucks to be you, said Energy Secretary Jennifer Gold. Why do I say that? Why do I say that? Anybody in the comments know why I say that? Living north. Heat pumps work great in Alabama, in Southern California, in Florida. Heat pumps even work most of the time here in Missouri. But when it's 0 degrees outside and snowing and blizzard-like conditions, heat pumps don't work at all. At all. So, sucks to be you. You know what works really good, though? Yeah. Aaron says, not in Canada. You know what works really good? Okay, so before I lived in this house that my studio's in, I lived in a trailer house. Yes, I did. Okay. I bought the trailer house with the intention of renting it out, and then a tornado hit and changed things around. Anyways, I ended up living in it for a few years. It had electric heat, not a heat pump, just regular old-fashioned heat up the coils electric heat. Let me tell you something. Electric heat is fine, but it's not nearly as good as heating with gas, because this house has a gas furnace. And let me tell you something. I used to have to set my electric heat to be comfortable at 77 or 78 degrees. I have to set my gas furnace at 70 or 72 degrees because the heat is different. Outside furnace is what we have when the heat pump isn't feasible. Yep. Getting more American electric heat pumps on the market will help families and businesses save money in efficient heating and cooling technology, said Energy Secretary Jennifer Goldham, who, by the way, tried to drive her electric car from D.C. to Tennessee and had to have people surrounding her in gas-powered cars to clear the way at the charging stations. But, you know, there's that. The investments will create thousands of high-quality and good-paying manufacturing jobs in other countries and strengthen American energy supply chain. Because we don't have enough electricity as it is. How's brownouts working for you in California? While creating healthier indoor spaces through homegrown clean energy technologies. Homegrown. None of these pumps will be made in the United States. Today's Defense Production Act funds for heat pump manufacturing shows that President Biden is treating climate change as the crisis is, added John Podesta, because there's an expert on heat pumps. He's expert on pumping, that's for sure. The White House Clean Energy Czar. These awards will grow domestic manufacturing, create good paying jobs, and boost American competitive in industries of the future. So, where's it going to go? They will transfer millions of dollars to firms such as Copeland, Honeywell International. Neither of those companies have factories anymore in the United States. Mitsubishi Electric, because that's an American, and York International Corporation, all of which are billion-dollar global corporations. Under the moves announced on Friday, the initiatives will help to develop the manufacture industrial commercial of residential heat pumps. This is absolutely shameful corporate warfare or welfare, but we're to believe that because it's for the sake of global climate change, all is well. I think, okay, by the way, you always hear the lefties going, the big oil companies get welfare handouts from the government. What are they referring to? Tax breaks. Not tax breaks, normal tax policy. You see, you get to write off your costs. That's the way that it works. You don't like it, go talk to the politicians who put all the loopholes in place so they don't have to pay taxes. Or take advantage of them yourself. Set up, go talk to a tax attorney and set up systems. They'll take care of that kind of stuff. The government is not writing big oil a check. The government is writing Mitsubishi Electric a check to create heat pumps. The government does write checks to alternative fuel companies like ethanol to subsidize them. That's corporate welfare. But corporate welfare is not normal business operation and normal business tax planning. That's not corporate welfare, although they like to call it that. But when they give checks to heat pump companies and windmill companies and battery companies and all this stuff, that's corporate welfare. And as far as I'm concerned, that's right. Those tax breaks for gas companies are the same tax break every single American corporation gets, every one of them. And the reason, and if you don't like that, vote differently, because the reason that all those tax breaks exist is because these politicians don't want to pay any taxes. You got to pay the fair share. We got to tax all the millionaires and the billionaires. But we're not taxing the millionaires, just the billionaires. Because I'm a millionaire. Right. It's kind of like how Bernie Sanders purchases $1 million in campaign ad buys from his campaign ad buyer, the corporation that's set up by his wife to purchase ads for his campaigns. Kind of like that. They create, and it's perfectly legal. They create rules designed specifically to make sure they don't have to pay the taxes. That's the way it's done. That's the way it's always done. Here's a little bit more on the finances coming from Thomas Massey, who says this: most U.S. foreign aid is money laundering for the U.S. military industrial complex and its beneficiaries. That is absolute truth. And you know what? This stuff, you watch. Mitsubishi of North America will make a large donation to Act Blue in the next year or so with all that money they just got. Because, reasons and stuff. So I talked about how Citigroup is laying a ton of people off. And there's a reason that Citigroup is laying a ton of people off. And it probably has to do with this right here. With this right here. Watch this. Or not watch it, but read it with me. Citigroup, the parent company of Citibank, reported $109.851 billion in securities sold, not yet purchased, in this most recent quarterly report for the period ending September 30th. Now, what does that mean? Okay. Citibank, understand these bonds. It was SVC, whatever it is, Silicon Valley Bank, SVB, failed because they had to liquidate their bonds at a loss to get cash to keep them operating. Then when the investors on Wall Street realized what was going on, their stock went to near zero. Citibank, in their latest quarterly report, says that they sold $109 billion in securities, U.S. bonds, at a loss. They sold them, but they haven't been purchased. Carry the one. How do you sell something but doesn't get purchased? Well, it's simple. They don't want to put it on the books that they took a $1.9 billion loss, because then their stock will tank. Now, let me tell you something. If you owned a publicly traded business and you did this right here, you would be right in between Bernie Madoff and Sam Bankman-Fried, right there in prison for a long time. This is what you call securities fraud. But because this is one of the too big to fail banks, everybody goes, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. This is a sign, ladies and gentlemen. Ding, 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 ding. This is what's coming with these banks that are underwater, and they got to come up with some cash. This is why they're going to give haircuts to the bonds that these banks are holding, which we talked about earlier. This is why. Because these banks are in trouble, and they're losing they're losing their assets. Dutch central bank admits it has prepared for a new gold standard. In a recent interview, the Dutch central bank shares its equalized its gold reserves relative to GDP. To other countries in the Eurozone and outside of Europe, this has been a political decision. If there is a financial crisis, the gold price will skyrocket, and the official gold reserves can be used to underpin a new gold standard, according to DNB, the Dutch National Bank. These statements confirm that I have been writing for the past years about central banks having prepared for a new international gold standard. So these banks are making moves These central banks are making moves to protect themselves against the coming crash, the coming destruction. A financial fire alarm. That's very, yeah, if you're paying attention. I was watching a video from Economic Ninja over on YouTube's. Go check him out. He's also on TikTok and on Telegram and everywhere else. And he was talking about how major transportation corporations reporting in the last quarter that their revenues are down 50 and 60% as trucking is now going through a massive correction. Why is trucking and shipping down so far? Because people, the same reason why FedEx and UPS and the rest and Amazon are laying people off, because nobody's buying stuff. People are going to Walmart and having a conniption fit because one bag of groceries costs $259, like the lady when I first started the show. They can't afford to buy a bunch of plastic crap and have it shipped in for the kids for Christmas. That's where we are today. Then there's this story. So Elon Musk has fired his cannons, basically. You see, there's this little company called Media Matters for America. Now, let me tell you a little background on Media Matters. I got some more background on Media Matters, but this is the background. Media Matters for America started in the second term of the Clinton administration. It was funded by the Clinton Foundation. It was set up. It's a political operation of the DNC and of the Bill Clinton campaign. It's David Brock started it. He was a Clintonite, worked for Hillary Clinton, worked for Bill Clinton. He started Media Matters for America. Its major funding comes from the Clinton Global Initiative and your good friends over at George Soros. And their whole purpose to exist is to destroy the finances of the right. They go after their advertising. If you say the wrong thing, they go after you and get your. That's what, that's part of the reason why, as I build this show, I'm doing it in ways that even if they demonetize me everywhere, I'll still have enough income that I can keep going, because these guys exist. They for years tried to take Rush Limbaugh out, but he did the same thing. He created an income that they couldn't mess with. But there's other people that they've absolutely destroyed. And so Elon X this out. And so I stand with X to protect free speech. He says the split-second court opens on Monday. X Corp will be filing a thermonuclear lawsuit against Media Matters and all those who colluded in the fraudulent attack on our Alex Jones is another one, on our company. Their board, their donors, their network of dark money, all of them. And this is the statement. It says that here are the facts of Media Matters research. To manipulate the public and advertisers, Media Matters created an alternative account and circulated the post and advertising appearing on that account's timeline to misinform advertisers about the placement of their post. Okay, so what Media Matters was doing is they created an alternative Media Matters account, and then they went through and they looked. Anyways, till they could get an ad of XYZ company next to, as Robert says, Alex Jones, next to an Alex Jones post. And then they go to this company. Look, all your advertising is going with these right-wing conspiracy nut jobs over on Twitter you don't want to pay them anymore. And they went out and these companies started saying, oh, they're racist, they're KKK, and started pulling their advertising in an effort to destroy X Corporation in a fraudulent manner. Says once they created their feed, they repeatedly refreshed their timelines to find the rare instance of ads serving next to the content they chose to follow. Our logs indicate that they forced a scenario resulting in 13 times the number of ads served compared to the medium ads served to an X user. Of the 5.5 billion ad impressions on X that day, less than 50 out of 5.5 billion total ad impressions were served against all the organic content featured on Media Matters article. For one brand showcased in the article, one of its ad ran adjacent to a post 2 times, and that means 2 times out of 5.5 billion ad impressions, this particular ad went 2 times against the post that Media Matters then tried to get them to remove their ads from X with. And it says that was seen in settling only 2 users, one of which was the author of Media Matters article. For another brand showcased in the article, 2 of its ads were served adjacent to posts 3 times. And that ad was only seen in that setting by 1 user, the author of Media Matters article. Media Matters article also highlights 9 posts that they believe should not be allowed on X. Upon evaluation, only one of the 9 organic posts featured in the article violated our current policies, and we've taken action on it under our freedom of speech, not reach enforcement approach. So, it's accusing Media Matters of creating a false narrative using a scam against the algorithm so they could go to advertisers and get so this is an attack financially on X, and the richest man in the world is now going to spend some of his riches to go after Media Matters, which this is the first time. Media Matters is nothing but a bully. It's nothing but a couple of guys with a fax machine, as Rush Limbaugh used to say back in the day. Now it's just with a Twitter account. And they are a nobody. They don't create any revenue. They destroy revenue. They're funded by George Soros and Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative. They are a total hack DNC operation. And they're about to get shellacked is what's about to happen. If they do things like this, they go into Wikipedia and they edit it. It says Elon Musk is a businessman, investor, far-right conspiracy theorist. So now Elon Musk is a far-right. Elon Musk isn't even right-wing. Elon Musk is central left-wing. Elon Musk believes in government, believes in giant social safety nets, believes in he thinks abortion's okay. He doesn't worship Jesus. He's not right-wing conspiracy theorists. Anybody that says he is ignorant. In the full form of the word ignorant. Not ignorant, they ignorant. Or they're lying to you. Or they're lying to you. Which also may be the case. That also may be the case, that they're lying to you. So there's a lot of questions about what Media Matters is doing. And some of those questions are being asked. Some of those questions are being asked on different levels now. Oh, I forgot that one. Oh, well. I'm trying to find another post about X. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. Here we go. Breaking Media Matters created accounts and gained the X server to create false impressions for articles. This isn't journalism. This is a hoax. Media Matters created 3 accounts on and followed 30 similar to the ones in the article. And they constantly refresh the timeline of their post 13 times the number of ads served to this user as opposed to the medium. 50 impressions. So it's talking about the same thing. And then says down here that Jack says breaking Media Matters accounts created the game, the system. And then Stephen Miller down here at the bottom says fraud is both a civil and criminal violation. There are 24 plus conservative states attorney generals, to which Attorney General Andrew Bailey responded, "My team is looking into this matter," Elon says, entering both civil and criminal. That's right. This is when you attack a publicly traded company. Of course, it's not publicly traded anymore, but it is fraud. It's 100% fraud. So Elon ain't taking this sitting down, and it looks like maybe one of the biggest tools of dis, and malinformation by the left, by the Democrats, may be taken out here shortly. And here's a little bit more on the history of Media Matters and who these people really are.
Elon Musk is going to be suing the shit out of Media Matters. If you are unfamiliar with Media Matters, they're an absolute trash left-wing propagandist media outlet filled with a bunch of brainwashed cucks. A little bit of interesting background on Media Matters. Their founder is David Brock. Once upon a time, David Brock, on the left, dated James Alefantis. That James Alefantis, the owner of Comet Ping Pong. The same James Alefantis that was mentioned in John Podesta's Pizzagate emails. No wonder Media Matters hates conspiracy theorists so much. This beef between Elon and Media Matters all started just yesterday when Media Matters ran this smear campaign trying to get advertisers to cancel their ads that they place on Twitter. And some advertisers caved. They bent the knee. Companies like IBM and Apple, they cancel all the ads that they place on Twitter because of this Media Matters hit piece. And this is all Media Matters ever does. They're basically professional cancellation activists. They've even written about me in dozens of hit pieces, getting me banned off platforms like Buy Me a Coffee. Here they were trying to get me banned off PayPal. The world without Media Matters would be a much better one. So here's to Elon Musk, and I wish him success in his destruction of Media freaking Matters.
So there's a little bit of background. Got some good people there. The guy from Media Matters used to date the guy from Comic Ping Pong. Whew, I don't even want to know how that worked out. If you don't know about the Comic Ping Pong stuff, you should look that up. There's some information there. Now, here's a little palate cleanser before we go to the next thing breaking over the weekend.
You got this. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. This is what the new generation needs. Whoever this kid's parents are, I want to give you some credit. You did a good job. Oh, shoot. See, this is what it's all about, man. This next generation of kids, they just don't get it. They don't know the sacrifices. They don't know what people went through. They don't know how freaking hard we fought to get this country the way it is right now. But this kid right here, Man, I hope you go on to spread that love and that positivity to so many more of your generation, because we need you, Ben. We need you. This is priorities. This is someone that that flag means something to him. Good kid, man. He's gonna write a note. No way. Wow. Man, if you don't take time to spread some love on this freaking video right here, then I don't know what you're doing in this country right now. Good kid, man.
There's a young man who someone did a good job raising that young man. And respect, right? Respect for that guy. So we're about to talk about January 6th and the release of the January 6th tapes. McCarthy had been speaker and promised he was going to release those tapes. I'm going to do it. 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 But there's a difference between gonna and actually doing it. Over the weekend, Speaker Mike Johnson said this. Today, I'm keeping my promises to the American people and making all January 6 tapes available to all Americans. And the poop hit the fan. I mean, the poop hit the fan. But before we get into that, do me a favor. Go out, do me a favor right now. If you're wherever you're watching this, let's wake up the algorithm. Get into the comment section and start commenting. Comment. Doesn't matter what you type, just type something. And make sure you hit the reaction button, hit the thumbs up, hit the rumble button, hit a reaction button on Facebook, and let's send this thing to the moon and get a lot of people on it, because this January 6th stuff that I'm about to talk about will not only get me kicked off of YouTube for playing the videos. Can't play that video. It goes against our preconceived narratives. But people need to watch and people need to see. So make sure you're tagging people, sharing this video, and all this stuff. Do that right now for me, please, if you would. But also do me a favor while you're doing that is check out the Liquid Bile Cell. If you haven't tried Liquid Bile Cell yet, why not? It has changed my life. It's made a difference for me. It might make a difference for you. It is a collagen HA matrix technology. Now, I was watching a video the other day, and they were saying how you can go to a Walmart and you can get the frou-frou powder collagen stuff. You can go get powdered collagen and consume it. Number one, it's not the quality of this. Number two, the other stuff that's in this has some properties that benefits you. Doesn't treat or cure any disease, but it helps. It improves joint mobility and lubrication, supports cardiovascular health, improves skin hydration, firmness, and tone, and it has absolutely changed my life, and it might do the same for you. You know, when I was a younger man, I used to run 5-10 miles a day. I know it doesn't look like it, but it's true. When I was in the Army, you know, you're doing the road marches with the rucksacks and the AR-15 or the M16 and all that stuff. Well, my body's paying the price now for all of that. Well, this relieves those normal aches and pains you get as you get older, and it makes me feel better. And there's a ton of people out there that take this product because I recommended it, and I appreciate that. But really blows me away is after 2 years of recommending this product, they're still taking it month after month after month. They're reordering. That tells me that it just doesn't work for me, but it works for a lot of other people too, and it may work for you. So if you want to get your hands on this product, just go over to the Patriot Mike Show on Facebook. Patriot Mike Show. Just type that while you're there. Follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Then scroll down to the pinned post on the top of the page where it's my beautiful wife eating the chocolate sauce that makes your pants fall off. That's another collagen-based product we have where my wife has lost over 20 pounds, and we're doing it again. I'm down about 15 pounds, give or take. Just taking that product. I can't exercise like I used to. My wife's down another few pounds, but over the years, she's lost a considerable amount. It's this product called Trim. And it's chocolate flavored. It restores, it inhibits fat storage, improves muscle tone, and restores youthful skin. And it makes a difference for my wife. And they got pineapple upside down shortcake for the fall season. So you want to try your pineapple upside down shortcake Trim. I mean, this stuff tastes like the chocolate tastes like ice cream topping. I don't know what the pineapple upside down shortcake tastes like, but I imagine I could probably eat the whole bottle in one sitting. That probably won't help you, but you could. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that. That's not a good idea. Just take a spoonful a day to chase that belly fat away. And don't forget about the OVA, ladies and gentlemen. The OVA is changing the game for the American people, or for the ladies, well, for the guys too. Because when mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And what the OVA does is it helps reduce the normal symptoms of PMS. It's a non-hormonal supplement that is scientifically formulated to sync with the 3 phases of your menstrual cycle. It lessens, like I said, the normal symptoms of PMS. They also have the OVA M, which my wife takes. It says it has changed her life. She feels like a new woman. My mother-in-law can't believe the difference it's made for her. And there's hundreds of women out here in Patriot Mike Land that have tried this product and says it's made a difference for them. So go give it a shot. And like I said, all you got to do is go over there to the Patriot Mike Show fan page, comment on that picture that you want to know more. We'll send you a link. It'll save you a few bucks off your first purchase. And if you're like, I want the link, but I ain't going to Facebook, well, that's easy. Send me a text message. 660-620-2644. And I don't collect your data. You're sending it to me. It goes straight to this cell phone right here. I won't answer it if you call. But you can send a text message, or you can send an email. It goes to my email. The only people that's going to see it is me. I'll send you a link. It takes you to our e-commerce page. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to become a member. You don't have to, listen to a bunch of videos, and you don't have to share it with your friends, neighbors, and relatives to get the break. All you have to do is give us your name, where you want it shipped to, and how you're going to pay for it. That's it. It's e-commerce, just like Amazon. And the link I send you will save you a few bucks off your first purchase. So there you go. And while we're at it, don't forget to get yourself the new Ogbu Snack Bar t-shirt. The new Ogbu Snack Bar t-shirt. And this, I'm being attacked over here on Rumble with these links. Guy makes up a new name, shares the link. Goodbye. Dude, you come back as many times as you want, and I'll make you gone forever. So it's all good. All right. So Speaker Johnson released the January 6 tapes. There's like 14,000 hours, and then the 14,000 hours has turned into 20-something thousand hours of of January 6 tapes that have been released all over the place. And it is, how shall I say, it is hitting the fan bigly, as Donald Trump would say. Bigly. Here is some of the highlights that is come out on January 6th. Let me scroll down. I got to get to it here. got to change over to my Twitter account. Here's some of the highlights. For example, there's video that never before seen video that was just released. People are starting to scour it. I'm sure we're going to get more of this. Here we go. Of these violent protesters as they're escorted through by the police officers. Now, do you remember just the other day, Lashib Tlaib brought in her pro-Palestinian protesters screaming and hollering and tearing stuff up? Here's the violent insurrection erection as it happened live. And our police officers doing all the, fighting and getting killed and all the terrible things that happened on January 6th. I mean, look at it. And one lady had blue hair. Blue hair. Oh my gosh. Yep. Those police officers look like they're in fear for their lives. That's one of the videos. Here's a couple more interesting ones. For example, before or just as the doors open, CNN, MSNBC, and media were there with their cameras ready to go. How'd they know? It's almost like they knew something was going to happen. That's weird. How'd they know? Then there's this one. They arrested a January 6th protester outside, and they dragged him inside to lock him away in the DC gulag forever and ever. Amen. Here is the arrest of the illegal insurrectionist outside of the Capitol, dragged inside the Capitol. This is before any breach. Here we go. You can see on camera as they drag this guy and they throw him up against the, well, then okay. He's, I guess, readjusting the handcuffs here. Yeah, no, took the handcuffs off and fist bumped him. Well, that's weird. And gave him his, okay. Well, by golly gee, that tells a different story. Because, I'm sure those cops were scared for their lives while they're fist bumping this guy or something. Well, that was a different story than we were told for some reason. That's weird, huh? Huh. Things that make you say, oops, hit the wrong button. Things that make you say, huh. But that's not what I was told. I was told that this was a violent insurrection and the cops were all in fear of their lives. And AOC was hiding in the closet of her office, screaming and hollering for her God to save her. But for some reason, that's not the story. Huh. That's weird. Then there's this. It's also one of the January 6th tapes that were released. This is one of the January 6th tapes that was released that, maybe there's more to this story. Here is Nancy Pelosi on a phone call with Mike Pence.
And I'm at the Capitol building. I'm literally standing with the local police of the U.S. Capitol Police. They believe.
Okay. I'm going to point something out. Nobody's talking about this but me. I'm going to point something out.
The U.S. Capitol.
5:59 p.m. 5:59 p.m. 5:59 p.m. 5:59 p.m. January 6th. You got Chucky Schumer, you got Nancy Pelosi, and Mike Pence on the phone. 5:59 p.m. And let me back it up. 5:59 p.m.
I'm at the Capitol building. I'm literally standing with the chief of police of the U.S. Capitol Police. They believe that the House and the Senate will be able to reconvene in roughly an hour. They're standing with the chief of the U.S.
Okay. Hold up. Before we get to the meat of this story, hold up. Wait a second. At 5:59 p.m., Mike Pence on a phone call with Chucky Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, or Chucky Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Grassley, said that in roughly an hour, so 5:59, an hour would be 6:59, at 7 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock, they could reconvene and continue with the debate about delaying the electoral count and turning it back to the states. But you know, the funny thing is they didn't reconvene at 7 o'clock. They didn't reconvene till way early in the morning the next day, like 2 o'clock in the morning. Why is that? Why? What? It's almost like they didn't want us to see what they were going to do. They wanted just to announce it was done the next day. Because if they did it at 7 p.m., everybody in the world would be watching. Weird. Huh. Yeah. So let's start that over, because they made the people put this video together make another point.
I'm at the Capitol building. I'm literally standing with the chief of police of the U.S. Capitol Police. They believe that the House and the Senate will be able to reconvene in roughly an hour. They're standing with the chief of the U.S. Capitol Police. He just informed me that they believe that the House and the Senate will be able to reconvene in roughly an hour.
Exact same recording. 2 different shots of the production. One with Grassley, one without. Exact same record. They were not live with Mike Pence. It was a recording for the cameras.
That the House and the Senate will be able to reconvene in roughly an hour. They're standing with the chief of the U.S. Capitol Police. He just informed me that they believe that the House and the Senate will be able to reconvene in roughly
Now,
an
another
hour.
question.
The chief of the U.S. Capitol Police, the Senate will be able.
Watch this right here. Watch Nancy Pelosi. What's with this? Right here. Watch.
He just informed me that they believe
What's
that
this?
the House and the Senate will be
What
able
is that?
that the House
What
and
is
the
that?
Senate believe that the House and the Senate will be able to inform me that they believe
Somebody tell me what that is.
the House and the Senate will be able that they believe that the House and the Senate will be able to
Is that a
reconvene
manifestation?
an hour. That they believe that the House and the Senate will be able to reconvene.
What is going on with Nancy Pelosi? Right here, watch. I slowed it down. That's weird, huh? So they made this recording. They made this to seem like something. The second part where Grassley is the one they showed in the hearing. She's all, I don't think she's freaking out about something. I think she's giddy. We got him now. We got him now. Oh, this is going to be so good. When we put this together, we have our, woo. That's what I think she's doing. Because they know exactly exactly what they're doing. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what a coup looks like. Yeah, YouTube, I said it. An insurrection erection. Bioclandestine posted this on Telegram. It says, now that we have tapes proving January 6th was not the violent insurrection we were told it was, let me enlighten you about what actually happened that day. Flashback to January 4th, 2021. Pence promised that he was going to hear the objections and evidence in reference to the massive irregularities and voter fraud in the 2020 election. Pence never got to hear those electors air their objections or evidence. The January 6th event at the Capitol was the means Pence used to justify not giving electors their day in Congress. Pence claimed the acts by Trump and his supporters were so heinous, the heinous crime, that he was just going to certify the election the next day. Boom. It was the next day. I told you it was early in the morning. This was set up on purpose, prearranged for the sole purpose of not allowing the evidence to be presented. Nowhere. I know that the media tells us over and over and over and over and over and over and over again that there was 70 some odd cases and they were all ruled, and Donald Trump there lost every one. There was no cases, none. No evidence has ever been presented in any court of law anywhere. None have ever made it that far. They were dismissed on technicalities. When they tried it before the election, they said, you can't because nothing has happened, therefore there's no injury, so you can't sue. When they tried it after the election, they said, well, you can't because it's already happened, there's nothing we can do. And then they solidified the coup on January 6th, using us, the American people, and our outrage as the scapegoat. Well, now that we have January 6th tapes, it's clear this event was facilitated and coordinated by elements within our own government, and the evidence of this was intentionally withheld from the American people in order to continue perpetrating this massive lie. You witnessed an insurrection on January 6, 2021, but it wasn't by Trump supporters. It was by establishment politicians, elements within the intelligent community, and the state-controlled mainstream media outlets who coordinated to generate, escalate, and exaggerate the situation in order to avoid electors airing their objections, in order to certify a stolen election. You witnessed treason and war waged against the American people. That's what happened on January 6th. Our nation was stolen from us by corrupt elements within our own government. And all the hatred, discrimination, censorship, and vitriol towards Trump supporters, all of it was based on a lie. You hear that, YouTube? Google, you hear me? Go ahead and kick me off your stinking platform. I don't care. You best start believing in Orwellian dystopias. I was just thinking about that. Has anybody ever read 1984? Do you know what the main character's job in 1984? I'm telling you, dude, you keep creating new accounts and posting your crap, you're just going to get gone forever. You know what his job? He would sit in the room and the tube would come down and he would pull it out and he would read old newspapers from the past, and he would X out and cut out information that the government deemed untrue, and then he would burn it in a fire. That was his job. That's what they did to us. We weren't allowed to discuss the things that they didn't want us to talk about, like the insurrection erection. Now, why do I say insurrection erection? Because every single one of these politicians and these talking heads kept saying erection right after January 6th, misspeaking, a Freudian slip. You can look it up. There's actually videos of them saying it. There is actually real, honest to God videos of them saying insurrection erection over and over again, different people. And here is that speech that Mike Pence gave on January 4th, telling the American people, and understand, all of this was in place. The setup, the lie, when Donald Trump authorized 20,000 National Guard, they didn't want them there because they didn't control the National Guard. They controlled the DC police. They controlled the Capitol Police. If the National Guard was there, they didn't control them. Therefore, they couldn't allow this to happen or couldn't fabricate it to happen. If the National Guard was there and the Ray Epps guys started pushing barriers, the National Guard would have arrested them. Then questions would have been asked. Then they would have flashed their badges and said who they worked for. We didn't want that. Here's Mike Pence, January 4th, 2021.
You know, I'm here because I stand with President Donald Trump. You know, I know we all got our doubts about the last election. And I want to assure you, I share the concerns of millions of Americans about voting irregularities. And I promise you, come this Wednesday, we'll have our day in Congress. We'll hear the objections. We'll hear the evidence.
He promised us. He promised us. We'll have our day. Why couldn't they reconvene at 7 o'clock? Why did they wait till 2 o'clock in the morning when most of the Congress wasn't there? A small minority showed up. Every one of them that was there that allowed and perpetrated this should be arrested, in my opinion. Every one of them. So Liz Cheney says, heads up, nutball conspiracy theorist appears to be posting from your account, talking to Mike Lee, because Mike Lee said, shouldn't the J6 committee have been demanding answers on these questions? Well, all these new videos that came out. And she calls him a nutball conspiracy theorist. You know who's a nutball conspiracy theorist? Liz Cheney. The young lady down here says they weren't about uncovering information. They only cared about their vendetta against Trump. Is exactly what it was. DC Drano says this. Pelosi never released the January 6 tapes. The January 6 committee never released the January 6 tapes. The DOJ and the FBI never released the January 6 tape. Kevin McCarthy, Republican extraordinaire, never released the January 6 tapes. That's how you know there's a lot of footage that destroys the insurrection erection narrative. Time to dig and expose. Let me tell you, there's 20,000 of information, of videos, of angles that we never got to see. And it's going to be some time as people dig around and find this stuff, but it's going to get crazier. Hundreds of innocent Americans and political prisoners in DC gulags treated by guards treatment by guards daily violates their human rights. 6 people have committed suicide, all because of your lies and perjury. You suborned Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney. God damn you both. That's basically the point. Innocent people are dead because of you. Hundreds of political prisoners because of you. And yours is your response to Mike Lee? You're a piece of crap, former Representative Liz Cheney. GDU for what you did to Matt Panera and others. This is the arrogance of these people. This type of ugly, callous, narcissistic tweet is why you're now former Liz Cheney, like Scott Priesler said. It was a pleasure ending your career. GDU for what you've done. This guy doesn't like Liz. Liz, like father, like daughter, evil runs in the blood. These people they will not be able to walk down the street. Question: what did Liz Cheney know, and when did she know it, about the USPC hero cop witness giving false testimony to January 6th committee? Did she try to corroborate their accounts with the video evidence that the committee withheld from the public? Did Cheney cover up the contradictions? It says Kevin McCarthy had full access to the January 6th tapes. He knew, and Liz Cheney knew, and Adam Kinzinger knew, and Nancy Pelosi knew, and Chucky Schumer knew what was on those tapes. Instead of immediately releasing the footage, they all, including Kevin McCarthy, withheld them as the people were being jailed. People have lost their lives, their careers, their families. People have died. People are rotting away in prison. There are people who have been 3 years in solitary confinement with no court, haven't even been to court yet, because of Liz Cheney's lies. Jeff says, it's beginning to look like we need to establish a committee to investigate the January 6th committee. These people have done this. And they will do anything, including destroy the United States of America. They will do anything, including destroy the United States of America, to prevent what's going to come out from coming out. Here's Laura Logan. Says down here in the bottom part, says the January 6th Select Committee knew about Pelosi's big lie and the selected Capitol surveillance tapes, but hatred of Donald Trump was greater than presenting all the facts. Just like the Russia saga, Comey, McCain, Rod Rosenstein, Robert Mueller, and all the rest. And Laura Logan says, why did the January 6th committee withhold documents from the House? Documents that belong to the House. Why did they send to the White House? Why did they send the copies to the White House and the DHS and refuse to hand them over to the House itself? Why did the White House redact those documents? The American people are going to realize the farce that it was done, and they're going to come for retribution. It runs deep. It runs deep in the American people. You don't have to like it, but it is our national heritage to stand up and demand answers from our public servants. I mean, our forefathers tarred and feathers for less than this. Our forefathers threw the tea in the harbor for less than this. Our forefathers held Bunker Hill until they were out of ammo and said, if you want our ball and you want our powder, come and take it for less than this. Serious about this. MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, demands Speaker Johnson to form a new January 6th select committee. There needs to be investigations and accountability for all the lies, deceit, and lives ruined. So she's saying, you know what? There needs to be accountability. I agree with her. I agree with her 100%. There needs to be accountability. We need to go and we need to find out what all this was about. So Marjorie Taylor Greene says Speaker Mike Johnson releases security camera footage from January 6th Capitol. Causing an uproar among Democrats. The American people can always be trusted to evaluate information, make their own judgments and decisions. Sorry, I lost my place. Trusted to evaluate the information, make their own judgments and decisions. When bureaucrats and partisan activists withhold data to advance the narrative, it erodes trust in our institutions. We must restore that trust, wrote Johnson on X. The release of all January 6th footage only led to one thing. There was no insurrection. Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene has demanded Speaker Johnson to form a new January 6th select committee, asserting that simply releasing tapes from the incident is not enough. Greene emphasizes the need for a thorough investigations and accountability for the lies, deceits, and lives ruined. The Congresswoman calls for a accountability extends to every member of the original January 6th committee, including Nancy Pelosi, as well as agencies like the FBI, DOJ, and both DC and Capitol Police. She insists that those who provided false testimony during the January 6th investigations should be subpoenaed. The corrupt Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the media, and January 6th Witch Hunt Committee bear the responsibility for the mental and emotional strain placed on these individuals under false premises. The intense scrutiny, public shaming, and legal pressure have created an unbearable environment for those awaiting trial or serving sentences, which contribute to a sense of hopelessness and isolation, ultimately leading to tragic outcomes. Green's statement further demands that drafting of criminal referrals advocating for prosecutions to be conducted under a DOJ led by the Trump administration. She argues that this is critical in ensuring justice and addressing the alleged wrongdoing in the handling of the January 6th aftermath. I'm calling on Speaker Johnson to create a January 6th committee. Releasing the tapes is not enough. There needs to be an investigation for accountability of all the lies, deceits, and lives ruined. Will it happen? Will it happen? I don't know. I do not know. I don't know if it'll happen, but it's liable to. I hope it does. I'm just taking care of something over there on Rumble I screwed up on. If you know, you know. Apologize. Hit the wrong button. All right, back to the show. January 6th. A big setup, a big scam. And we got people who are suffering, regular, average Americans, moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas, regular tax-paying Americans who just wanted to express, who were sucked into a scam designed to suck them in and then punished in order to cause fear so nobody else would speak up. And it was all done on purpose. Representative Clay Higgins says this: prepared to be shocked. This release will reveal the insidious truth that the left and the corrupt officials at the FBI, DOJ do not want Americans to see. No less than 5 to 10 key Democrats will announce they're retiring from Congress. Don't doubt me. I think that's going to happen. I think that's going to happen, and it's going to get ugly, because the American people aren't going to put up with this. They're just not. Here's some more from Clay Higgins. This is a serious dude, in my opinion.
Come out here sometimes when I can, just to visit with the memory of these men on the wall behind me. You know, the debt that we owe our veterans and their families can really never be paid, but we should try. I think about our beautiful nation and how precariously balanced our freedoms are in America. Right now, we live in an era where American patriots are called upon to stand. My brothers and sisters, you have to participate in the system, man. You have to vote. You have to register and vote. We can't just let this thing slip away. These guys, they've literally paid for where we are with their life. Incredible sacrifice. My veteran brothers and sisters, and millions of us across the country, we have sadness in our heart when we think about how close we are as a nation to losing our individual rights and freedoms. And we look around, we're not even sure. We're not even sure many of our fellow Americans are realizing that the oppression that we face right now. Like, we must stand up. This coming year, the 2024 election cycle, man, we're either going to save this thing or we're going to lose it. Not to China or Iran or Russia. We'll lose our country to oppressive forces, nefarious, insidious forces from within our country. Stand with me, America. Have faith and stand with men like me. God bless you, one and all. I'm in this thing for the final fight. Oh.
I like that dude. I think he's one of the good ones. And I'll fight. I'll stand for sure. For sure. Douglas MacArthur McGregor, whatever his name is, Douglas McGregor, that's a wrong general. He wasn't even a general, he was a colonel. He says this. The last thing we as Americans, as an American state, want is a regional war in the Middle East. The Iranians and Turks will shut down the Straits of Hormuz. Egypt will close the Suez Canal. We're not prepared to pay $200 a barrel of oil, $200 a barrel oil. Given the damage these fools in Washington have done to our energy sector, $200 for a barrel of oil is absolute catastrophic. Our financial position would collapse. Yes. And he doesn't want war. He wants a peace settlement between Hamas and Israel. He talks about the Turks. The Turks are really bloviating and rattling their saber at Israel. But here's what I got to say. What about the Armenians? Who? What are you talking about? Armenia doesn't talk about it. Right now, there's genocide going on with Armenian Christians. I don't remember, one of the stands is doing it and Turkey's doing it. Mass genocide. So I don't want to hear Turkey going, oh, Israel, you shouldn't be doing that. Well, guess what? Neither should you. Two wrongs don't make a right. But you know, if we're going to condemn Israel for trying to destroy Hamas, then we're going to have to be intellectually honest and also mention that our ally, NATO member, is exterminating people right now as we speak because they're Christians. But no, nobody wants to talk about that because, well, there's no political hay to be made out of that. Nobody cares about this little minority group of people somewhere off the Baltic Sea. Nobody cares. But that's where we are. Israel is doing its war, and they're basically telling the rest of the world to go pound sand. So, you know, if you don't want them to do it, stop them. Israel Defense Minister Gallant, however you say it. For me, there's no difference between Hamas terrorists and the military fatigues with an AK-47 and one in a three-piece suit traveling throughout the world. They should all die. Well, something tells me that was a call to arms. You know, Israel searched the world after they became a nation. They searched the world looking for former Nazis and, well, introducing them to God personally. So they ain't joking when they say that. So we saw all this footage when Hamas invaded into, but these trolls over here are being with their advertisements. They're consistent. Anyways, when they invaded into Israel, they had a bunch of camera crews with them. One of them was a Palestinian journalist, Samid Wahid, I don't know. Wajjeh, Wahayan, I don't know. No speaky. This guy right here. He's a proud member of the terror group Hamas. He's been photographed on numerous occasions in Hamas gear, brandishing weapons. This guy. Here is the image of him dressed in his photojournalist outfit, working for NBC News. In recent weeks, he's been covering events in Gaza nonstop, reporting Hamas propaganda back to his employees at NBC News. His LinkedIn profile shows that he's been employed by NBC News since 2012. The journalist has been covering the war in Gaza with NBC News since 2012. In an Instagram post from 2018, he celebrated the burning of an Israeli flag. This is a really good guy. NBC Universal, his employer, is one of the companies suspending advertising on X in response to the misleading Media Matters article I talked about earlier, claiming their ads have appeared next to far-right content. Can't have it next to far-right content, but having terrorists that work for you, that's fine and dandy. That's okay. That's good. That's really what we're all about. NBC News, that is. Actively paying terrorists for content for their news. Because, well, reasons, I guess. Here is some more coming out of Gaza. This is a post right here. It says, sounds like a lot of Hamas terrorists are stuck underground in collapsed tunnels. They'll probably die or have already died. These tunnels have become their tomb. Quite a way to go out. And it says, Kurt Schillinger is right. Sucks to be them. Not our problem. Nice work, IDF. Carry on as you were. So I guess the IDF, instead of going down into these tunnels and clearing out all of these terrorists, they just collapsed the openings and said, "C'est la vie." Oh my God! How could it's so inhumane? How could you do that? World War II against the Japanese. That's what we did on Okinawa and some of the other islands. Instead of trying to fight them in the caves, we just blew up the entrance to the cave. I mean, it's war. War is hell. It's not pretty. It's not nice. Bad things happen to good people, and bad things happen to bad people. It's war. It's the way it is. You know, don't do dumb stuff. Don't fiddle around and you won't find out. Hamas distributed videos of attacks against IDF tanks includes a Palestine child holding an RPG or handing an RPG to a Hamas terrorist. Recruiting child soldiers is a war crime, waiting on condemnation by UN and UNICEF, UNICEF, and UNICEF Palestine. It's like, excuse me, but this isn't. So what happens? So this guy's launching his RPG at tanks. The tank turns a turret, boom, blows up. Next thing you know, they're carrying this kid down the street to the medics. They killed my son. Ah! Israel's killing kids. Well, if you don't want your kids killed when you're in a war, don't put them on the front line handing ammunition. Because once he starts doing that, he's no longer a kid. He's a combatant. It's that simple. You can get killed dead from a man with an AK-47 or an 8-year-old with an AK-47. Don't make no difference. Pull the trigger. Once that bullet leaves that barrel, you get killed dead either way. If a kid or a woman or an old man or an old woman picks up a weapon, they're no longer classified as a civilian. They're a combatant. It's that simple. But I don't like it. You know, the world is ruled by the aggressive use of force, and the people using the aggressive force don't care that you don't like it. They don't care not one little bit. Not at all. The world doesn't care. You know, the lion eats the gazelle. The alligator eats the zebra. That's the way it works. The world doesn't care. Here's an interesting testimony from IDF forces that are working in Gaza.
So the testimonies from the soldiers in just keep coming, and I don't even care if what you guys comment and what you believe. You can even look at the link down below. But basically, we just got word from a rabbi that said that he heard from a soldier unit, Golani Brigade in, that said that they were supposed to go into a house and go down one of the tunnels. And as they went into the house, they saw this man or figure that looked just like a rabbi that basically told them to not go into the tunnel. As they tried to shoo him out of the way, not understanding what he was doing there, the officer's hand went straight through this figure, this rabbi-looking figure. And as it went through, they were all freaked out. And another officer, which was already in the tunnel, came up. And as he came up, this rabbi-looking figure started speaking again and said, "Get out of the house." And as he said it, fire came out of his mouth. The whole unit left the house, and then the entire house exploded, which means that an angel saved an IDF unit in. How cool is that?
You notice how an angel saved an IDF unit in. How cool is that? You notice how he said he could mouth the words, but he couldn't say the words. 1984. Flag the video. They take it down or suppress it. You hear that? Google over there on YouTube. We're going to punish you by kicking you off. If you're watching me on YouTube, go follow me on Rumble. Links are in the description section. I will not be long because I will not shut up. On Rumble, I can talk about it all day long. I don't really care. And Rumble monetizes. YouTube will never monetize me. All right, folks, that's it for the show today. I got more to talk about, but I don't got more time. So there's a lot going on. Joe Biden's polls are tanking. Even MSNBC admits there's no way he can win at this point. So we'll see things. I told you, as this progresses, as this information continues to come out, they'll burn the country, the whole world to the ground before they let all of this information come out. It's going to happen. There's no doubt about it. But I don't like it. So what? The problem is with Americans, we think the world revolves around us. No one cares what you don't like. Do something about it then. Go pick up a gun and join Hamas. Oh, you don't like it, but you don't like it that much. I see how you are. You're just a guy or a gal that wants to run their mouth anonymously on the internet. But when it really comes down to actually doing something, you're not interested in that. You come down to changing something, you're not interested in that. It's on our side too. Over the years, people would message me, when are they going to do something? I'll say, when are you going to do something? You go out and do something. You go out and tell your neighbors. Share these videos. Share the other people you watch. Tag people in the videos. Like, comment, make sure. We have to do our part. If you can convince one person, there's 3,000, 4,000 people are going to watch this show today. If you could all convince one person today to open their eyes and just look, that'd be 8,000. The next day it'd be 16,000. And the next day would be the 32,000. We could change the world. You'll have a good one. Patriot Mike is out.